welcome to this episode of the How to Choose Happiness show. I am your happiness coach and your host, Lauren Foster. So welcome to Thursday. This is our how-to day, and we're having a kind of random off-topic week because there's this week kind of straddling over March and April. So we did our month on relationships in March, and those videos and audios are all uploaded to the website if you want to go back and listen to those or watch the videos or review any of that. And this will be kind of tucked into the end of that. And then next month, we're going to start a new topic that is officially really back here in the real world called death and fear and resentment because our beliefs around all of these are shaping our lives and informing our decisions. So we all arrive on this planet the same way into this human body with this human mind that is completely blank and free and a clean slate, but an ancient soul that knows more than all of us put together, and especially more than those of us who are still right here being human. And then from the minute we're born, the world starts teaching us things. And so our beliefs are formed. Some of our beliefs are formed by the drama of one single moment. We have a whole month on words and how one harsh word can make an imprint on a young person that will last them forever. And some of our beliefs are there because they've been repeated over and over and over again from the outside world and from ourselves. We can get addicted to a story that we tell ourselves and keep telling it over and over again until we believe it. Now, a real life example of this is that when I was a little girl, I'm the baby of 6, and I was out with all of my siblings out at this awesome river that we used to swim and play in, and I didn't yet know how to swim. And I kind of wandered off a drop off, and I was in water over my head, and I was going to drown. And the only person that saw me had a stutter, and he couldn't get the words out to tell somebody that I was there drowning. And so my friend Gary Haley, who, every time I see him, I say, thank you for saving my life. I owe him my life. He jumped in and saved me, and all was well and everything was great. But I don't really remember that. But I've heard the story and been told the story so many times that it feels like I remember it. And so it's truth to me. And so the stories that you tell yourself over and over again become your truth, whether they're true or not, and whether or not they serve you. So we arrive at this moment in our lives with this whole belief system that's like our skeleton. It's like what the rest of our life gets built on. And it's okay. Some of our beliefs serve us, but some of them don't. And the way we figure that out is from the outside in. So if we are experiencing things in our lives that are not the way we want them, what's keeping us from doing the things that we need to do in order to have the things that we want? So from an outside in perspective, there's our results, there's our actions, there's our feelings and our emotions, and then deep down inside are our beliefs that generated all of that. So in order to change our results, we got to get all the way back to the beginning and look at our beliefs. So one of the big beliefs that is completely pervading our society, especially as women, is that we are not enough, that we are not worthy, that we don't deserve to have the things that we are dreaming of, that's for other people. And so we keep our dreams small. So my whole mission here is to teach you that your dreams should be big, that you benefit no one by playing small, and to teach you how to do that, how to get out of your shell and begin creating your life the way you want to. So that's our how-to today. And the link on the post has it's just a Google Doc. You can go straight there. It's black and white. It's simple. You can share it. You can copy it. You can make a copy. You can print it. You can do whatever you want with it, but use this as a guide to really start figuring out what it is you want, because this is the first step in getting lined up with it. If you don't know what it is, how the hell are you going to know when you get there? So, and that's going to be my cheat sheet for the lecture today, the lesson, the show, the whatever we want to call this, is what is exactly is in this document. Now, let's see. Let me say hello real quick. Tammy is with me as always. Thank you so much. I'm assuming my microphone is working, or she would have been panicking and telling me that it's not. Okay. And Mandy, good morning, darling. See, one of the things I love about this is Mandy is a busy girl. She's working multiple jobs and she's off and about and around all the time. But now in these circumstances, she has time to hang out and be with me on these shows this morning. So that's what we're doing. All righty. So figuring out what it is that you really want. Step one in this process. And first of all, the link for the Google Doc is in the post. It's got to be. And if it's not, let's see. Well, I'll come back and share it in the comments. Tammy, you might not be able to find it, or it's in the email for today. So we'll find it and get it to you. But it should be in the post that I sent this morning. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a list of things that we have loved to do throughout our lives that we don't do anymore, from as far back as we can remember all the way up until yesterday. And every time I do this, every time I even think about this, I remember new things that I used to love that I don't do anymore. I used to love horseback riding, and I don't do that anymore. And I had the most amazing childhood. I ran all over town, and from daylight until dark every single day, completely unsupervised, free as a song with my best friend on our horses. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And I loved that feeling of freedom. And if I didn't already know this, just reviewing that and going, okay, I loved horseback riding. What did I love about those days? I loved the freedom. I loved the independence of having my own transportation and being able to get where I wanted to go, and the bond that I had with my best friend and with my horse. And, so this gives you insight into the way you want your life to feel. So no matter how big or small, I loved turning cartwheels. I loved climbing trees. I loved singing. I loved playing the piano. I loved stomping in mud puddles barefoot, making things up. Whatever it was that you loved to do as a kid, do this exercise with an open mind and a curious mind, and explore what it is that's in your soul that you really, really want from your life. Okay, and, take some time with this and come back to it, and, give this a little bit of your time and attention and your love, and see what it can give back to you. All right. So all the things that you've loved to do that you didn't do anymore, I gave you space for 50 things on this document. And so if you can use all of those, that's awesome. And then the next thing is to make a bucket list. And again, do 50. And the reason that we ask for so many is because these are muscles in your brain and in your heart and in your soul that might not have been exercised for a while. And it might take you 5 or 10 or 15 for your creative juices to really start flowing, and for you to start going, oh yeah, you know what? I've always wanted to visit this place. I've always wanted to learn how to do this. And I've always wanted to have this conversation. I've always wanted to, whatever you would love to do before you get through being a human on this earth, write that on your bucket list and make yourself do all 50 of them. You're not committing to this just because you put, I want to climb Mount Everest on your list. You can change your mind tomorrow. It's what you want today. What is appealing to you today? And I promise you that as you begin to reawaken your ability to dream and reawaken your imagination, this is going to be much easier to come up with things to do. And you're going to be watching TV and go, I'm adding that place to my list of things that I want to visit. I'm adding that person to the list of someone I want to shake their hand or give them a hug. I think there's going to be a whole lot of hugging going on once we're allowed to hug again. I know a lot of my friends have been just like, I just can't wait to hug my friends again. And So again, there's a gift. Thank you, coronavirus, for reminding us not to take for granted the ability to put our arms around each other, you know? All right, so make your bucket list and make yourself put 50 things on there and make yourself have fun. I know that's contradictory, but you know, if you can figure out a way to have fun on purpose, then you're really exercising your being happy on purpose muscles. Got me? All right. So the next thing is figuring out this. Now we're into part two. We've awakened your imagination and reminded you how to dream and maybe lit a small spark of a fire that is convincing you that you can have whatever it is that you want and gotten you to dream outside of what you think you can have, what you think you're qualified for, all of those things. Okay. So the next step is to get clear on what's really important to you. So this includes your values. This includes your passion. This includes your convictions and the things that are really kind of unmovable in your life. So the first thing that I want you to do is write down your core values. That write down all of the values that you can think of that play a part in your life. So freedom, sincerity, generosity, kindness, family, service, on and on. Whatever values you can think of, just dump them all out on the page. And then in the next step, choose the top 5 of importance to you and write them down in order. Write down your top 5 values. And this is going to help you in our final steps of where we're going to be creating your dream, creating your vision for your future. All right. So your core values, what's important to you, and then rank them. And then the next one is talents and assets. So this should be really fun. Think of all the things that you've learned to do throughout your life. And the reason for this is that once you really do start to write down all the things that you've accomplished, you're going to go, holy crap, I'm really kind of a big shot. I've done a whole bunch of things that are awesome. I've gotten these degrees and these certificates and learned how to do this and learned how to do that and mastered this. And I was born good at this and I have a great singing voice, and on and on and on and on. This list should make you feel really good, and you should have a whole lot of fun, and it should show you how many, many things you are already qualified to do, not counting the fact that you can learn anything. If there's something that you need to know on the way to your big dream, you can learn it. Have courage and confidence in the fact that if you don't have the resource or the knowledge, you can go and get it. I promise that you can. All right. So, but listing your talents and assets, when I was a Girl Scout, I won a prune pit spitting contest. Say that 5 times fast. We would stand like pretty far away and spit a prune seed into a coffee can, and I would hit it time after time after time. So is that going to go on my list of talents and assets? Yeah, it totally is, because how much fun. And who else can say that? And, you know, I was also on a karaoke game show. I didn't win, but I was on TV singing and remembering lyrics. So I have a knack for remembering the lyrics for songs. So everything that you can think of that is the least bit interesting and fun and skillful and an asset of yours, put it on this list. And again, I gave you room for 50 of those 50 things. You don't feel compelled to use all 50, but I really think that you should. All right. Then what are your must-have dogs passions? What are the things that you just really care about in your life and you that would be very unhappy if they weren't around? Animals is one for me. If I didn't have dogs and cats and access to animals on a daily basis, I would not love my life as much. When I created my dream for this part of my life, it was freedom for my animals as much as freedom for myself. I wanted us all to be free and safe to come in and out of the house at any time of day or night that we want. Now, there are restrictions for the dogs. They don't get to go out at night, but for the most part, that's a must-have dogs is really must-have dogs for me. So what are the things in your life that you absolutely can't do without? You must have time in the country. You must have time in nature. You must have time at the beach. You must have time shopping. What are things that make you come alive that your life would not be complete if it didn't include those things? And again, have fun with this. If you require an hour every day by yourself to read, write that on your passionate about list. If you require music, if you require whatever it is that you are just, your soul cries out for, put that on your must have dogs list. All right. And then what comes after that is crafting your dream. Now, we're doing this a little bit differently now than we have in the past, because one of the things that I've learned in my recent studies about feminine power and creating in a feminine way is that the things that we're creating for our distant future, we have no reference for because they haven't been created yet. Do you see what I mean? So the relationship that we want to have is so magical and so special and so wonderful that this world doesn't yet have a frame of reference for it. So being able to imagine that specifically is not possible. Being able to, my 10-year dream, the first thing we're going to do is your 10-year dream. And this is very general. This is very, what do I want my life to feel like, and what impact do I want to have in the world, and what progress do I want to have made? And so mine that I'm thrilled to share with you, because it's a fantastic example, is I want to be walking down some street in some city, and one of my students, one of the women that I impact, runs up to me and shows me our secret pen or our secret pendant or our secret handshake or hug or symbol or something that identifies us to one another as members of this empowered sisterhood who are living our lives exactly the way we want to live them and teaching other women to do the same. So I want, in 10 years, I want at least 1 million women to know and live and be sharing this message. And so do I know the steps of how I'm going to get there? What's going to be happening in year 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4? No, there's no way for me to know that. But can I do the next step and figure out what do I need to be doing and being and believing in and accomplishing in the next year in order to move in that direction? You betcha, I totally can. So I was watching a video about the coronavirus, oddly enough, but it was actually very interesting the way they demonstrated what exponential growth looks like. And they used the example of a lily pad on a pond. And so the lily pad divides every day and becomes 2, and then becomes 4, and then becomes 8. And so it doubles every day, so that the first days, there's not that much growth. But on the last day and the next last day and the day before that, suddenly there's a whole bunch. And this is very, very significant. So in the example of my 1 million women, in 10 years, that's 1 million women. But if we're using this exponentially and we reverse engineer from that, in year 9, I only need to reach 500,000 women. And then in year 8, I only need to reach 250,000 women, and down from that and down from that and down from that until we get to the present year, and it's 2,000 women. So now this part of my dream, I can take apart and go, okay, this is my goal. This is my dream. This is my vision for the next 12 months. So now I can get curious and get open for the ways that the universe is going to bring to me to reach and engage with these 2,000 women that are then going to spread their message to 2 more people and 2 more people and 2 more people. So that growth could be even faster than in 10 years. But no matter what, I have a starting point, and I have something that I can get my arms around and that I can do in this moment. I got to reach 2,000 women with this message of freedom and happiness and living your life on your own terms. Every minute of it, every day. All right? Okay, cool. So your 10-year vision, your 1-year vision, and then, share with us what you learned. Email us. Go to the BeHappyFirst.org website and get on our mailing list and stay communicating with us and be a part of this movement. Start being an example to the young women that are growing up. I so want to talk to women in their 40s or 50s that are starting to fear that their chance is over. It's not. Your chance has not passed you by. Life has not passed you by. Louise Hay didn't start Hay House Publishing until she was 60 years old. So your past does not define you. Your beliefs up until today do not have to define you. You get to change them. You get to adapt to being the person that you want to be and living your life the way you want to from this moment forward. And all of the young girls who are watching you are going to be so empowered to be like you. That's another of my dreams. I want my nieces to say, that's my aunt. She's a famous happiness coach, and I want to be just like her when I grow up. I want to be happy and free and do whatever I want, just like my Aunt Lauren. So what do you want? What do you really want from your life? And what's the step that you can start taking? Oh, that's the last step. Sorry about that. I'm about to skip out from the most important thing. Write down 20 ideas as to how you could begin making this one-year dream happen. Every idea that there is, anything that feels good to you, don't censor yourself. This is a common practice. Marie Forleo is the latest one to remind me of this practice, and she calls it the Magic 20, I think. But then go back and look at that list and see what lights you on fire and do some research and, play the what if game. What if I really could start a business growing pansies, selling seeds, developing organic seeds? It does not matter what it is that is your passion. You can figure out a way to build a life that is around that, no matter what. And this is another very important note. I'm not asking you to choose one thing to be. I'm not asking you to decide and commit to what you want to be when you grow up. You get to be as many things as you want. And one of the things that I'm loving about this current career path that I'm on is that I am always getting to look things up. I was researching the history of war the other day for our lessons that are coming up next month on death, and getting statistics and getting myself educated on why we kill each other over our beliefs. And so every month, every topic, every week, I get to go and learn about different things that I can then break down and tear apart in order to share with you, in order to help you on your journey. So this is fulfilling a whole bunch of different things for me. And I eventually plan to incorporate my love of food and the primal lifestyle. And so this path that I'm on is letting me stay in touch with all of my passions. I don't have to give up anything, and neither do you. All right. So, are there... Mandy said LOL about something, but I don't know what it was. All right. So if I missed questions or anything like that, I do apologize, and I'll go back and try to fill those in for you in the comments. So thanks so much for being here. Come back next Tuesday. We're going to start our month on how to examine and reframe your beliefs about death and fear and resentment, and turn those into appreciation of life and love and forgiveness, and just continue our journey of learning to live your life on purpose. So I will see you on Tuesday. Until then, remember that happiness is a choice, and you can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you next week.